Hello, my name is Konstantin Fröhlich. I have been working as a scientific assistant since 4 years at the Institute of Aerodynamics at RWTH Aachen University, and I have been part of the research collaboration Oxyflame, where we develop advanced models for solid fuel combustion, such as biomass combustion. And this process is fairly complex. It is a multi-scale, multi-physics problem. This is why each of our sub-projects focuses on a specific aspect. And our focus of the project is the particle-fluid interaction within a turbulent flow. I would like to motivate our study by showing you some results of our project partners. On the left, you see a test facility where our project partners conducted detailed studies based on a simplified burner geometry. Among others, they extracted some of the particles and made some photographies. On the photographies, you see that the particles are clearly non-spherical and the size of the particles is of the order of 100 micrometers. Our other project partners, they are specialized on the simulation of a system-scale combustion chamber, and due to the small size of the particles, they have to apply simplified models to track the particle during the combustion process. And this particle model is based on a spherical assumption. This is the current state of the art. And this precisely motivates our project. We would like to provide more accurate particle models which also take into account the non-spherical particle shape. To provide the necessary benchmark data for model development, we perform highly resolved simulations. These simulations are based on a very efficient numerical framework. Here you see one key component of the numerical framework. It is a locally refined Cartesian mesh, and the mesh is refined around the particles to provide a full resolution of all fluid and all particle scales. The mesh is also adaptively refined in the wake of the particle. The refinement is controlled by a flow sensor which is shown at the bottom. The flow sensor here is based on the velocity gradient of the flow field. The numerical framework has been used to study the particle-fluid interaction within a turbulent flow field. Here you can see such a simulation where the vertical structures of the turbulent flow field are visualized via isosurfaces, and the colored then by the velocity magnitude. On the right, you can see the adaptively refined mesh. And if the particles now start to move, the mesh is adaptively and locally refined in the vicinity of the particles, and the particles interact with the turbulent flow field. These simulations are quite huge. We tracked up to 60,000 particles, which required more than 8 billion cells. Therefore, we conducted the simulation on high-performance computing centers on up to 48,000 processors. And without going into the details, we found out that current existing particle models are not sufficiently accurate for non-spherical particles. Next, we performed thousands of single particle simulations where we studied in detail the impact of the particle aspect ratio as well as the particle orientation. And this data has been used to generate some new models, simplified models, which now can be used by our project partners to take into account the non-spherical shape of the particles.